Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 99 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on February 1st, 2022. 99 episodes of the podcast for you. 99 episodes of the podcast. Add one more. Make it 100. 100 episodes of me ranting about silencers to you. We're so close. No, I just did some more field testing. That's right, fam. 2022, already at it. PEW Science, can't stop. Well, I have no choice. It is a lot of hard work, but the real work starts once you get back to the office. You know, real data and analysis, that's right. Of what, you may ask? And why? Why would I be doing such a thing? It's suppressed weapons system data. That's right. Engineering and analysis. And silencers, it's what I do. And so you can go get them. You can. They're cool. Silencers are cool. And if you were so inclined, one place to obtain them is from Silencer Shop. That's right. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the most efficient and intelligent way to purchase silencers, I think, probably in this E-Form 4 day and age. You know, probably. I mean, you know, they seem to so far be doing it to ATF satisfaction, as it were, which I guess is all one can hope for. You know, we're all at the mercy of that, the ATF, as it were. You know, so Silencer Shops, they're accurate, have a low error rate. They're relatively reliable. You know, and again, you know, having the ATF be the bottleneck is kind of, I guess, where we're sitting. That's the best case scenario, and I think, you know, in my opinion, Silencer Shop delivers. So, you know, there's a reason they've grown. They continue to innovate, and you can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically, all the good stuff. You cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer purchasing process. Money back guarantee. It's great. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors. Just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. It is. And one more thing today. This is something new. You know, I tried to work out a deal for you folks listening, something that would help you and also help the podcast. And so it was interesting. I was approached by a company called True Shot Gun Club out of Arizona. They sell ammo, okay? All kinds of ammo, actually, and all kinds of brands and everything. They're a big shop there, and reportedly they have fast shipping and decent prices. I was like, okay. So, you know, I was approached by them, and they wanted to do something with me, and I thought about it for a couple months. I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe. I said, and then I called them. I was like, okay, sure, why not? So what you can do is you can go check them out. I put a link in the podcast show notes. And if you click it, it'll take you to their site. And if you buy stuff, it helps the podcast. And it's pretty simple. So yeah. And they have a frequent buyer free shipping program thing. It's called A-Zone. And if you join that, you get free shipping on everything. It's basically like Amazon Prime for ammo, I think. More or less. So if you want, but the reason I'm telling you about that is if you want to join that thing they have. If you use the code PEW Science at the checkout there, you get $20 off. Yeah. So if you use the code PEW Science, you get $20 off a membership to their frequent buyer program thing, and that gives you free shipping for like the whole year on everything you buy. So it's like, yeah, I felt like that's cool, right? I mean, because ammo, I mean, you have no choice but to pay. The shipping is the thing that gets you, you know, because it's ground. So it doesn't matter where you live, you're going to be paying that ground shipping. So it's like, well, if you pay $20 and you get free shipping for everything you buy, well, then you're going to buy a bunch of ammo. I was like, yeah, you're going to buy ammo anyway. So I was like, okay, well, this way you can buy ammo and you can support PEW Science and maybe you get some money off of the shipping there, and it's a win-win-win, I feel like. I don't know. Let me know if you like it. And if you don't, please also let me know if you don't like it, because that is good information for me. I listen and consider all feedback. I listen to and consider all feedback from everybody. So let me know if this works. And if it crashes and burns, well, that'll be an interesting experiment. And also, by the way, if you weren't aware, this podcast is brought to you by PEW Science. That's right, pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is the simplest and the most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. Remember, and this is very important, if you listen to nothing else I say, listen to this. The suppression rating is based on true human sound perception of the entire gunshot. Okay, it's the suppression rating tells you how loud the gun is with the silencer on it from before the combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone, until the gunshot's over. It's the whole time. It's the whole thing, and it's in section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. It walks you through gunshot noise, sort of like Wikipedia, but let's be honest, it's more fun because it's about guns. There's 7 parts. They're all on pewscience.com for you to read. Go check them out for, if you have a rainy day, maybe get some hot chocolate. I know it's cold out there. You might want to learn about silencers. And if you haven't seen it and you say, Jay, frankly, that's scary. It's long and scary. You say, no problem. Skip to section 5. And it will explain the suppression rating to you in simple terms. It's going to let you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to sound at the muzzle and the shooter's ear. And you get a hearing-safe dose limit for the particular platform on which the silencer is tested. That's right, directly tied to human perception. If it sounds higher, it's probably going to sound better to you. If it's lower, it's gonna be louder. So I don't know. I try to make it simple. This stuff is actually really complicated. So I have found that, the simpler I could make the rating, hopefully the more helpful it is. But like I said, if you want to look at the nuance, and boy is there a lot of that, you can go to section 6, and that's all the reviews. They're very detailed. And when you have enough of that, if you want to see how everything stacks up, that's section 7, the rankings. Sortable table, go wild. Okay, and there's links in the table to help you. Now I say this every time. And we just kind of completed a program for a manufacturer. If you're a manufacturer listening and you would like to use PEW Science for testing or consulting services, there's a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry. Your contact information, all the test data will be held in strict confidence. Anything between us, this just between you and me, unless you want to release it to the public, in which case I can help you do that. And like I said, you're going to see some of that probably coming up. Did some wonderful client testing. Very interesting silencers indeed. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. And you can support this podcast, PEW Science, all the testing we do by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. That's right. You can donate on the website if you like. You can donate a little bit. You can donate a lot of it, or you can donate absolutely nothing, which is fine. Just enjoy it. I just ask that you enjoy the information. And something that doesn't cost you anything, you can spread the word about PEW Science, tell your friends, tell your gun friends, tell them where they can find good silencer information, give the podcast a good rating on Spotify, good rating on iTunes, and in general, let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. Normalize the use of suppressed small arms. Before you know it, everyone's going to be using them. And as soon as they get normalized, man, they'll just be common use. I mean, that's what I think. I don't know. I know the government probably does like this revenue, this tax stamp revenue, but I don't know. There's got to be a case to make these common use. I mean, when you really think about it. So, I don't know. That's what I think. I have 4 topics for you today. Topic 1, field testing. Always exciting, always learning, always improving. I'm going to talk to you about some of that. I just did some of that. Topic 2, new sound signature review this week, maybe. I was just out in the field, and it's been really busy this early, I say first quarter, but the first month of 2022 has been so busy. So this review this week could be late, could be not at all. But I'm going to give it the old college try to get something to you. Topic 3. Do you have a moment to talk about the Surefire SOCOM556-RC2? Also, let's talk about silencer behavior. I've been noticing some things for a while in the data, and I want to kind of revisit some of this. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but in case you missed it in all the episodes, I'm going to talk about this with you, about how silencers behave. And then topic 4, humbling support from gracious benefactors, really, guys. Yeah, a big shout out to PEW Science members and clients. It's awesome. And like I was saying in the intro there, I wanted to welcome a new supporter of the podcast, kind of a supporter, basically of the overall effort, the True Shot Gun Club. So, trying to work with them to help folks with ammo deals and maybe support the podcast too. We'll see. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but we're gonna see. Okay, topic 1 at a time of 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, man, guys, it's been a long day. It's only Tuesday, but it's just one of those. I don't know. I feel like this year, what I think it is? What I think it is, it's the COVID thing's ending is what's happening. And so things are just ramping up, and it's not like it's anything particularly special. I think it's just everything's ramping up to normal crazy time, and I think some of us forgot what normal crazy time felt like because everyone is ramping up at the same time. So I feel like it's a perfect storm of back to the grind, and frankly, I'm not ready for it. Necessarily, no. It's probably just because the holidays weren't long enough. I don't know. I have a lot of theories. Humans are weird. Yeah. But anyway, field testing. Yeah, I tell you what, had some cool field testing recently, and I'm super excited to show you folks the results. I am. And, it just so happened to be some client stuff. So if they would like me to show it to you, I certainly will. And it will be cool. And if they do not want me to show it to you, and they choose not to release the data, it's fine. Maybe you'll see it someday, eventually. Basically in this process, everybody wins at the end of the day. Okay. And I wanted to mention this because I think some people might not understand, why I even offer these services. And it's because, I think it's one of those win-win scenarios. Companies looking to have third parties validate the performance of their silencers, they win. Maybe they get some more information about the performance, things like that. It's a really fulfilling thing to me, and it's cool to see it evolve in the industry. I do it a lot in my career. I do. One of my, it's funny. Like, one of the main things I do, like, helping folks understand the performance of systems is something I have been doing professionally for a very long time. And whether that be like, I'm gonna use some cliche terms. Yeah, I will. Whether that be a warfighter downrange, or the people making the decisions to send those warfighters, or maybe it's the people designing the systems to protect themselves and others from different threats, or maybe it's the silencers you use when you go hunting or you go LARP with your friends, or it's all the same to me. You see, this is all the same to me. It's not the silencer industry is wonderful. It's wonderful. And the people I meet in it are wonderful, and the consumers are wonderful. The products are so cool. But it's small, and it's just a little microcosm. And if you guys only knew, it's the principles that I try to instill in all of this and illustrate to you and help you with are applied in much broader circumstance in general for the protection of human beings and personnel. And so like I said, it's really all the same to me. And the bottom line is I want to give you good answers so that you can make the most informed decisions possible. Okay? I want to give you actionable intelligence. That's what I'm doing. Okay? I want to give you actionable intelligence. That's what PEW Science is. When you read my website, pewscience.com, I am giving you in-depth intelligence briefings on suppressed weapon system performance as applied to physiological response and combustion. Okay? And that's what I'm doing. And I think a lot of folks might think it's a little crazy, and a lot of folks don't have time for it. They don't want to, and that's totally okay. But it's not every day that someone that does what I do does it for guns. And now I'm doing it for guns and silencers. And to those of you who might, think it's kind of far out of left field, it is for guns and silencers. Because the folks like me, we don't usually do this stuff. We don't care about this, but I care because I like them. I like guns and silencers, so I'm here to do that for you. Okay, and so that when I tell you about I do a test program for a client, it's exciting for me because I get to do what I love in an industry that is, to me, like my passion, like shooting and doing gun stuff. So I get to apply what I do professionally to what I view as fun time. And I think sometimes the people who their primary industry is silencers or guns, sometimes they take offense to that because they think, well, gosh, you're coming in here and you're upsetting how we're doing stuff, and it is disruptive. And we were just fine before you got here. So why would you do these things? And it's because I am trying to help the overall state of practice, and to the extent that that keeps being true, which I think it is true, I will keep doing it. Okay, so yeah. So I'm in the midst of a lot of analysis, and I want to give you folks a PEW Science update on the quick goings on, as it were. So I think it's good. It's good to do that every once in a while, just so I'm still here. Give you a gut check. With yes, we're testing. Yes, some of the testing you see, some of it you won't. Yes, things are progressing, but sometimes I kind of take a step back from social media a lot because I need breaks, and so I don't communicate with some of you. And a lot of the communication with PEW Science folks is by email. And so some of you only listen to the podcast, and so I figured, hey, I'll give you a little bit of an update, and because I've been out of comms for a little bit, so don't worry, I'm here, and there is some fresh data from the General PEW Science Member Fund coming. I like to call it that. The General Research Cooperative Fund is coming. Yeah, so some public data for everybody. So stay tuned, my friends. And speaking of that, let's move into topic 2 at a time of 18 minutes. In 32 seconds. Yeah, new sound signature review this week. Maybe. I was just testing, and and I was doing a lot of QA, and I just don't. It's one of those things, it's funny. The publication schedule that I had planned just happened to sync up with a field testing schedule that I made happen due to like a really just like one of those calls where I'm like, you know what, let's go. It was one of those times where usually I schedule field testing far in advance. This time stuff got a little crazy, so I was like, no, I called an audible, and I went and I tested, and when that happens, client work takes precedence. I was like, did I use the right word? I did. Yeah, and the reason is it's due to contract schedules. And while I do also think of all of you, the public that's listening, and especially PEW Science members that contribute, I do think of you as clients. I do. The corporate contracts do dictate deliverable schedules to be met. Okay, so while in a perfect world, I would serve all of you equally. Some animals are more equal than others. Have you ever read that book? Yeah. So really, you can think of the data I give you all as waves in a way. The deliverables I give to PEW Science clients are another set of waves. And sometimes those waves just so happen to sync up. And when that happens, you get wave amplification. That's a backlog increase. That's right. Yeah. So don't worry. I'm gonna try to get you something this week anyway. I was thinking of a certain something. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do it, and I just have to somehow create time. I hear that if you go fast enough, time slows down. So I don't know. Some dude said that once. Some really smart guy. Let's see. Okay, topic. Let's get in the meat of this. Topic 3. Time of 21 minutes and 3 seconds. I'm like quoting Einstein here. We're gonna go off the rails. Hold on. And they're like, should he even have done a podcast? I'm like, that's a good question. I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah, topic 3. Do you have a moment to talk about the Surefire SOCOM556-RC2? And also, I wanted to speak with you about silencer behavior. And I don't know, it's kind of like a joke. Like, do you have a moment to talk about your long distance service? Or I guess, I don't know if they talk about that now because no one has like landlines anymore. But they used to ask you that. And now, like, do you have a moment to talk about your car's extended warranty? I think about the RC2 because I talk about the RC2 all the time. And I feel like it's annoying to people. I was talking to some folks about this silencer the other day. Actually, yesterday I was just speaking to a manufacturer about the RC2 yesterday. It was, I was speaking with a Surefire competitor. Not Surefire. I actually haven't spoken to Surefire in a very long time. I don't know. They might not like me, and I think they're fine. I think they do. They're busy. That's what I tell myself. No. I was speaking with some folks about how incredibly awesome the RC2 is. I'm being for real. A lot of people know how good the SOCOM556-RC2 is. A lot of people. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think enough people know, frankly. I don't. And, the thing is, it's not new, and it's pretty mature. And I think, honestly, if the mount was a little better, just a little better, I think they could take it up a notch, so to speak. I like the size, I like the color, I like the feel, I like the latch, I like the quality, I like the sound, I like the durability. Frankly, I think it looks neat. I like how it reduces back pressure over a lot of dedicated 556 bore silencers. I think the whole thing's cool. I do. I've been messing with some different mounts in the silencer, actually. I'm trying to better understand the performance. I've actually pinged some of you to get your experiences. Some of you listening might be like, oh, yeah, you did ask me. Okay, I did. I asked a couple of you some stuff. What's really interesting? It's interesting how some people are really familiar with the silencer and some folks have never even shot an RC2. And then there's some folks, they have a pretty good idea of how it sounds. It's a really interesting silencer. And so I got to thinking about it. And it brings me to some really interesting hypotheses. Because, well, it's kind of like once you start to really look at the RC2, one of the neat things about the silencer is how it vents early in the blast chamber, right? Do you guys know? I want you, if you haven't, go look at the patent. Just Google Surefire RC2 patent or something. You'll find the drawings. It's not hard. It's been out forever. Everyone has drawings of it. It's no secret how it works. And one thing I've been investigating is how silencers that may vent early in their stack, their baffle stack, that is, behave with certain types of cartridges. Okay? And maybe not necessarily cartridges, but I like to think of it as pressure and duration. Okay? Combustion pressure and duration. I separate those two things. If you have a high pressure happening for a shorter amount of time, and you want to deal with that entire gas volume in a way such that you can act upon it and alter it, wouldn't you want to give that gas the easiest path available? You understand? Like, let me say it, maybe I can say it a different way. You have a really high pressure event, and it's going to be over before you know it. But you still have to deal with it. So don't you want to let it go to a place where you can deal with it, and you want that to happen quickly because you only got a certain amount of time? Is that a strange way to think about that? I think that's kind of what I want to go. So there's that. And then on the flip side, what if the combustion duration was really long? What if the same thing happened, but it happened for a longer time? Maybe in that case, you could give the gas a little more time because you have a larger volume of gas on which to act. So maybe you have more time to do work. Yeah? Maybe. So what if we drew a chart? What if we drew a chart about that? What if, conceptually, we can do it in our minds. We don't have to do it on paper. Just do it in your head. So what if you had different bins of silencers? What if you had different groups? What if you had silencers that had free, easy access for gas to do work, and those silencers did well with high pressure and short duration? What if you had that? What if those silencers could also do well if the duration got long? But only if they increased in size relative to their original size, because the path was too easily accessed. Okay, like I'm drawing this picture. Like I stay with me. So like again, so this first group of silencers, they let the gas go to the places to get the work done fast. They do really well when the pressure's high and it's not happening for that long. Okay? They let everyone in. The paths are easily accessed. They let everybody in. They're easy access. Think of it like an entertainer. He's going to do work. He's going to entertain you. This group, they're going to let everyone in. They're going to put on a good show for really large crowds. But they need bigger real estate to do a really good show. You feel me? So that would be a cool group of silencers. They do good for a long duration. I mean, they do really great on short duration because they let the crowd in. That, you know, and they're awesome. But if you let a huge crowd in, they're gonna need a bigger venue because everyone's getting in. Does that make sense? They let people in easily. They entertain them, and they can be small and efficient for enthusiastic audiences. But if you get bigger crowds, as long as they leave some space next door, maybe the back parking lot, dude, they're good. That concert's gonna be awesome. Okay, that's a group of that's a certain type of silencer. We'll call that Group A. Which silencers would fit in that group? Okay, maybe the RC2. Maybe the RC2 would fit in that group. Maybe a CGS Helios DT would fit in that group. Maybe a CGS Hyperion K would fit in that group. Okay. Maybe a Dead Air Sandman S would fit in that group. Right? You see where I'm going with this? Okay. So I was thinking about this because I was thinking about what is the Surefire like? How does it perform? Not necessarily what are some performance equals to it, but how does it work? And why does it work? And what are some favorable traits for it? And I started to think about silencers and grouping them and how they're similar. And I was like, oh, RC2, Helios DT, Hyperion K, Salmon S. I wrote an article on this for 308, remember? If some of these behave similar on 308, why wouldn't you think you think that behavior is common or not across different regimes? Yeah, it's interesting, right? So that's a group. Then I was thinking about, then my mind started going, I was like, well, what about other groups? I was thinking about another one. Well, what if you had another group, and let's use that concert analogy. What if you had another group that did really well with enthusiastic crowds? Like super high pressure. Okay. What if you had another group that did really well with enthusiastic crowds, but it was a special, like this group, it had a specialty. And their specialty is they could handle a lot of folks in the audience that were really rowdy. But the catch is they needed something special. They did it by screening people at the door with big bouncers. And they got a big old lobby. Security lobby. It's like a screen checkpoint. Okay, so some folks are going to get through. But there's so many people there. You know, with a huge group of people, there's so many people. Most of them are getting caught and screened. And the efficiency's pretty great. Throughput's great. But it's a long way to go. There's a lot. You gotta sit through the screening. You gotta be in the lobby. And chances are, a lot of the patrons are going to get entertained. And if those groups were silencers, they didn't necessarily give that fast access to everything, and it was a little bit delayed, those silencers could be pretty good. But what if the crowd was smaller? What if the combustion duration was shorter? What if they had less people? What if they had less gas? What if the crowds got so short, the lines got so short, that instead of being directed to the proper windows in the security lobby, the patrons just they breeze through. Maybe the proportion of the patrons that get through and don't have to go through the lobby shifts in balance a little bit. Maybe this silencer group doesn't shine as bright. Maybe they entertain more when there's more people. Maybe, you know, they're setting up shops in the lobby. They're playing music and they're pre-gaming. The people have beer kegs and when there's enough people, this group is so good. The lobby is bumping. People are having fun. They're doing keg stands in the hallways. But when there's not a lot of people, they're like, there's not a lot of people. I'm just gonna head on out. Okay, so maybe there's a group of silencers that maybe they're happiest with larger crowds, longer duration. And they do pretty well with longer duration. Let's call it silencer group B. Which silencers would fit in that group? Not many. It's a weird group because it's one of the most unique groups you could possibly have. What I just described is a very strange way that a silencer works. One of the only silencers that I know of that works like this is the Helios QD. And that it might sit there on its own for a minute until I can think of some more. Super weird. It's actually that silencer is actually it's frustrating to me as an analyst. That silencer is a frustrating silencer to me as an analyst because it is so different that it's a problem for me because it just doesn't make things easy. it makes every time I test the damn thing, I question my sanity. And that's why something's different. And it doesn't it happens a few times. There's some silencers that have done that to me. And the Helios QD is most certainly not the only one that's done that to me, but it is one. And if you guys recall the first time I spoke with you about it, it threw me for a loop. But it's a weird silencer. And so, there's even more groups of silencers. And I have one more. I have one more to talk about. What if there was another group and it was a cross between the first two groups? Like not in design. Don't get too hung up on design, but in crowd proclivity, in combustion need, in duration need, in size need, in explosion type preference. What if there was a group that had super long hallways with twists and turns, and on every turn there was a funhouse mirror when the patrons looked and they laughed and they were entertained, but overall they were super, like the mirrors and the hallways were boring. So to keep them entertained, you have to keep them moving because they're getting impatient. Okay, this is like the ultra economy model of entertainment, but very effective when you keep them going really fast and you make money even if there aren't that many, because no matter what, you don't waste any interactions. They're always going to see those mirrors. They're always going to be listening to the music. They're just got to get them through. It's one of those, just get them through. High pressure, high velocity. They're going to check out every nook and cranny. Because they're going fast and you're shuttling them through something, they're going to see everything. Just keep them, don't let them get bored, or they'll get bored and they're not going to stay. Okay? So what silencers fit that category in this third group? OSS, I would say. So you see what I'm doing? Do you see what I'm doing with PEW Science now? I'm testing silencers, okay? But there's more. And we are figuring out why they work and how they work and which ones work for which things and which ones work in the best ways. And this is one of my goals. I want you to have good information. I want to help you. Okay, but I also want to help us, the collective. Okay, and I can tell you right now, you're not going to do that without thinking outside the box. And we're completely out of boxes. I don't have any. I'm out of boxes. So I'm outside the box. Okay, we're way out. We've been out. We left the box years ago. Okay. So let that kind of percolate with you. I get, just as an aside, I get questions about a lot of these silencers all the time, and I have a feeling a lot of you really understand the OSS now. So that's cool. Because I understand it now, and now you do too. And I think a lot of people understand the Surefire RC2. And when I say RC2, not only the 556, but the 762, you've seen that. And I think the CGS stuff, I think a lot of people don't understand. The Helios DT and the Helios QD could not be more different. I don't think. I mean, they have some similarities, obviously, and a lot of people think they're the same silencer, and it is just not the case. It's just not the case. And as silencer designs become more complex, you kind of have to check yourself. Because for a long time, conventional wisdom, I guess when you have a limited data set, you can draw trends. And one may be tempted to draw conclusions from those trends. But if your data set's not big enough, you can run into trouble. And so when everyone was doing these curved cones with notches in them, and people were like, well, yeah, that's a bigger one, so it's quieter. And oh, that one is a bigger diameter, so that's quieter because it's a bigger diameter. And that's, volume this, and the first round pop and blast chamber, and, yada, yada, yada. Back pressure, volume, and all these things that we know aren't true anymore. They're not true. All of these things that people say that they're not true. But how do we know they're not true? Well, we have more data now. Okay? And it's not that like, oh, we have some peak pressure values that we looked at and we're charting, and oh, this one's 141.1, this one's 137.6, this one's 100. No. You can chart that all day long, and you're not going to get anywhere, guys. When you're designing a silencer and you're looking to test how little changes you're making are affecting the peak amplitude of a wave outside the system, you want to look at that peak pressure and you want to see how you're tweaking it. Absolutely. Is that useful? Absolutely. I mean, it's just another tool in your toolbox. Use it intelligently. Be an engineer. Okay? Be a scientist, be an engineer. Be an experimentalist. Use data. By whatever means necessary, use data. Okay? If you can use data that you gather in a consistent and intelligent way, and it results in a better system for you, and a better design, a better solution, do it. Okay, that's called progress. Okay? But what you need to be able to do is understand when you've reached your limitations in a method. Don't overreach, because you will fall off the cliff and you'll never get back up. You'll go down rabbit holes of design and you'll never get out. And I've seen it. I'm telling you, you'll probably see it this year, and boy, is it going to get me in trouble. I'm going to show you eventually. You're going to see some silencers. If you've probably already seen them. I just can't remember because I don't care about this. But oh boy, will people care. You're going to see some silencers that have like, for example, and this is just one thing, but that they'll have like low peak dB consistently. And those silencers might not sound that good on the platform where they got low peak dB. And when I say low, I don't mean like super crazy low. I just mean like, lower than some others. And you'll be like, oh, wow, that was a low peak dB. But, oh, the suppression rating's not that great. Why? And I'll be like, well, it's because it doesn't sound that great. Why? Well, it's the way the waves are interacting with your ear are not as favorable. It's not. It just doesn't sound as good. And people might ask themselves, well, why didn't the silencer manufacturer know that? It's like, well, maybe they did. But also they went and they tweaked and they tweaked and they tweaked and they tweaked that design using a certain technique, and they got real good at it. They got so good at it that they optimized on a single parameter. And that parameter might have been peak dB. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying like it could have been. And they ended up doing that really well. But then what's that saying? You can't see the forest for the trees. You take a step back, and maybe that part in the transient wasn't the most important part to address. There's a bunch of peaks. So that's one example of sometimes you got to think outside the box a little bit. And sometimes you're just not gonna get there without taking a step back. And so all of these things I'm saying to you, I'm kind of talking to consumers, but I'm also kind of talking to everybody. And I understand that what I'm implying is very difficult, but that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I hope you see that, and I hope you see the value. Okay? Okay. All right, we're going to move into topic 4 at a time of 45 minutes and 31 seconds. Man, this is a fast one today, and I am frankly excited about that because after this, I'm probably going to start writing an article for you. Yeah, topic 4, humbling support from gracious benefactors. I get kind of, I don't know what the emotion is. I guess it's humbled. You know, the PEW Science members, obviously, and those of you who haven't received an email from me, you will. I've been busy. That's really cool. And I was also humbled that, the True Shot Gun Club folks reached out to me. And okay, make no mistake, I'm not dumb. I obviously know that like it benefits them because if you buy ammo, they sell ammo. So I know that. But I was also like, wow, that's cool. And the folks that I talked with there were cool. So that was humbling. And I couldn't do this without the client support. I couldn't do it without the member support and all of you that are listening and making it happen. These ammo guys, they really wanted to work with PEW Science. And I found that, it was hard for me to make the decision to do coupon code and stuff. I didn't want that necessarily to happen. But I was like, well, I know that folks listening need ammunition like that. And I think about when I buy ammo, and I'm always like, I'll go on the internet, I'll find something, and I'll be like, I'm like, oh, that's a great price for a case of 9 or something. And I'll go, I'm like $25 shipping. You know what I mean? And I get super, I'm like, oh, that sucks. And it kind of like, and you know how you're computing the cost per round? And then you add the shipping, you're like, man, my cost per round isn't nearly as cool as I thought it was. Because you're buying 4 cases because you're a lunatic like me. And then by the time you know it, you're paying all, and the shipping's not flat rate. And you're like, oh man, and it's a whole problem. Yeah. So I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, well, these guys have a shipping deal. I was like, okay. So I was like, well, this is a good way to get people shooting more. Maybe it'll incentivize people to buy ammo in a smart way. I was like, okay, you can use the links in the podcast show notes or on the website, whatever, bam. Maybe they have something you like, maybe they don't, but I was like, hey, I can't say I didn't try, okay? and if they have something you like, and you want to get the free shipping, you can use, you use the code PEW Science, and then you get a discount on your membership thing. I don't know. I think you get $20 off on the membership. I think that's what it is. So let me know if that works. Yeah. So I will say, I do want your feedback on this. Do not think that I'm just going to do this and it's fine. And no, I actually want to know, if you end up buying stuff from these guys, let me know how it goes. And, I am very interested to understand how this all works because this is kind of a new thing for me. So I want to know, don't be shy, DM me, email me, be like, yeah, this is awesome. This worked really well. Or no, dude, this sucked. I never got my ammo. I'll be like, well, I'll have to look into that. So it would be great. Cause it's important that we distribute information that is helpful to people and not the opposite. That's my mission. Okay. So I want to make sure that this works. Okay. So again, I couldn't do this without you guys. Stay tuned for some stuff this week. If I can, I'm really going to try, guys. And I'm going to try hard. And I know you have faith, but I'm saying I'm going to try not to let you down. Worst case, it comes Friday instead of Thursday or something. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to hopefully try to get it done for Thursday. If for some reason it doesn't happen, don't panic. Okay? I'm still here. It's just one of those times. Okay? Okay. Have a good rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Look forward to go shooting this weekend if the weather in your area allows it. And hopefully stay tuned for some data. Okay? We'll see. I will talk with you folks again soon.